Welcome back. Today we have a rarely used word, a surprising victory, a decisive defeat, a paper related to a remarkable and very useful invention, a portent of doom, a singer, a song, and a quote. So grab your favorite cuppa, settle in, and let's have a look. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for July 29th. July 29th is the 210th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 211th in leap years, with 155 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is Selcouth. Selcouth is an adjective that means unusual, strange, uncommon, or rare. Selcouth is an archaic term, rarely used today, but you can think of the word Selcouth as a word that expresses the essence of something that is not only rare, but also intriguing and wonderful in its unfamiliarity. Example sentences could include, "The Selcouth beauty of the forest left the explorers in awe," or, "We happened upon a Selcouth collection of manuscripts that seemed to whisper secrets from the past." Selcouth comes to us through Middle English, from Old English, from a combination of words that meant seldom or rarely, plus known or familiar, so its literal translation could be read as seldom known or rarely familiar. Interesting word, Selcouth. It's a very old word, first known use is before the 1100s. Selcouth. And with that, on July 29th in the year 1018, an individual known as Count Dirk III defeated an army sent by Emperor Henry II in the Battle of Vlaardingen. Even though Count Dirk III hasn't had much press, had you ever heard of him? I hadn't. Dirk III is one of those fascinating historical figures who doesn't get much attention outside the Netherlands. But his victory at the Battle of Vlaardingen was remarkably consequential. A local count defeating an imperial army was not something that happened often in the Middle Ages, and historians often point to that battle as an early milestone in the emergence of Holland as a distinct political power. Dirk III of Holland lived from about 981 to 1039, and inherited the county as a child after the death of his father in 993. During his minority, his mother, Luitgard of Luxembourg, served as regent and used her influential family connections to protect the county. Once Dirk came of age, he began expanding his authority over the sparsely populated marshlands and river regions along the North Sea coast. His greatest challenge came from the Holy Roman Empire. Dirk built a fortress at Vlaardingen and began collecting tolls from merchant ships, traveling important trade routes between inland Germany and the North Sea. These tolls angered the merchants and the Bishop of Utrecht and ultimately Emperor Henry II, who considered Dirk's actions a direct challenge to imperial authority. Isn't that the way it always goes? In 1018, Emperor Henry II dispatched a large imperial army under Duke Godfrey II of Lower Lorraine to crush Dirk's rebellion. Instead, Dirk and his local Frisian supporters used the swampy terrain around Vlaardingen to their advantage, ambushing the invading force in what became the Battle of Vlaardingen. The imperial armies suffered a stunning defeat, and Duke Godfrey himself was captured. This victory was far more significant than a single military success. Rather than being stripped of his lands, Dirk was allowed to retain his county and continued collecting tolls. The battle marked the beginning of greater practical independence for the region that would later become Holland, making Dirk III one of the key figures in Dutch medieval history. Dirk ruled until his death in 1039. By combining military skill, political determination, and strategic use of geography, he transformed a small frontier county into an increasingly independent power, setting the stage for the future rise of Holland and eventually the Netherlands. On the other side of that type of coin, on July 29th in the year 1148, the Siege of Damascus ended in a decisive Crusader defeat, ultimately leading to the disintegration of the Second Crusade. On July 29, 1818, French physicist Augustin Fresnel submitted his prize-winning Memoir on the Diffraction of light, which precisely accounts for the limited extent to which light spreads into shadows, and thereby demolished the oldest objection to the wave theory of light. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but what I do know is that we can thank Augustin Fresnel for Fresnel lenses. So you might wonder, what is a Fresnel lens? A Fresnel lens is a type of composite lens that divides a lens into concentric annular sections. Why does this matter? Well, a really high-powered lens will be really thick, but you can reduce the material required and consequently the thickness of the lens when you divide it up that way. This was immediately useful in lighthouses. Dividing the power of the lens into these concentric elements captures more light and adds it to the beam. A Fresnel lens can be made much thinner than a comparable conventional lens. The introduction of Fresnel lenses in lighthouses can rightly be called an invention that has saved millions of ships. I first became aware of Fresnel lenses back when I worked in the optical business. They actually make Fresnel lenses that can be cut to shape with scissors and applied to a regular lens in a pair of glasses to give a simple, therapeutic, and inexpensive way to correct certain visual disorders quick and easy, and adding no noticeable thickness or weight to the eyeglasses. Pretty amazing technology, Fresnel lenses. Adolf Hitler became the leader of the National Socialist German Workers' Party on July 29, 1921. This is the birthday of singer-songwriter Martina McBride. Born Martina Maria Schiff on July 29, 1966 in Sharon, Kansas, she grew up on a dairy farm in rural Kansas where music was a family affair. Her father played in a local band called the Shifters, and Martina joined the group as a teenager, singing and playing keyboards. After marrying sound engineer John McBride in 1988, the couple moved to Nashville in 1989 to pursue careers in the music industry. Her husband worked with Garth Brooks' touring crew, and that connection helped Martina earn an opening slot on Brooks' tour, an opportunity that introduced her to a national audience. She signed her first record contract in 1991 and released her debut album, The Time Has Come, the following year. Her breakthrough came with 1993's The Way That I Am. Her hits, such as My Baby Loves Me and especially Independence Day, showcased her vocal power and her willingness to record songs with meaningful social messages. Independence Day did not reach number one, but it did become one of her signature songs and remains widely regarded as a country music classic. Her music also crossed into the adult contemporary charts, broadening her audience beyond traditional country fans. She's won the Country Music Association's Female Vocalist of the Year award 4 times, has received 3 Academy of Country Music Top Female Vocalist awards, has been nominated for 14 Grammy Awards, and has sold more than 14 million albums in the United States. Her catalog includes 14 studio albums, along with several greatest hits and holiday collections. Away from the stage, Ms. McBride emphasizes family life. She and her husband John have 3 daughters, and she intentionally reduced her touring schedule while they were growing up so she could spend more time at home. That balance between career and family has become an important part of her public image. Martina McBride has exceptional vocal ability and expresses heartfelt storytelling with songs that often address real-life struggles with compassion and strength, and remains one of country music's most admired and influential voices for more than 3 decades. Happy birthday, Martina McBride. Today's song, then, is Blessed by Martina McBride, written by Brett James, Hillary Lindsay, and Troy Verges. Blessed was released in October of 2001 and hit number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Hot Country Songs chart in March of 2002. Blessed by Martina McBride. Link in the description. How about that? I found quite a few quotes that would go right along with today's subjects. Let's go with this one by the French philosopher Henry Bergson. It is, "The eye sees only what the mind is prepared to comprehend." Henry Bergson. All righty, y'all take care. Be good to each other. I'll see you next time.